Hello everybody and welcome to another Binding of Isaac in-depth video. Today we're going to look at the ins and outs of my favorite character and possibly your favorite character or everyone's favorite character, Eden. Eden is a character unlocked by completing the womb for the first time, and everybody understands that you need an Eden token to play as Eden. You get those Eden tokens from beating Mom's Heart, It Lives, or Ultra Greed. What people may not know is exactly what occurs when you start an Eden run and how it generates everything in the game. That's what we're going to talk about today. Buckle up, it's in-depth Eden. Before we get into the super specifics here, all of the information I'm about to tell you was determined before Afterbirth was released. So yeah, a long time ago. But it's generally common knowledge that none of this information has changed since Afterbirth and Afterbirth Plus's releases. It's important to note that, as we know, Isaac is a game based off of a variety of RNG instances. This means that when the game is launched, the game is going to create a bunch of seeds that will change the items, consumables, floors, and everything else in the game. A similar sub-seed is created when Eden is generated. This is done in two phases. The first phase will generate Eden's health, attributes, and pickups before it generates the level. The second phase will generate possible cards, pills, trinkets, and items after the level initialization. We're going to walk through how each of these things is generated and then check an Eden start in-game to see it in action. I'm not planning on doing a lot of talk about code and programming in this video, but I will show some pseudocode to explain how Eden works for those that are intrigued, because Eden does showcase a lot of great logical gaming code. Phase 1. The very first thing generated on an Eden run is how much HP you're going to have. The game tries to give you 3 hearts, red hearts, or spirit hearts. Essentially, it's going to start by picking a random number between 0 and 3 for red hearts. Then it's going to randomly pick a number between 0 and 3 minus X spirit hearts, where X is the number of red hearts you have. Let's break that down a bit. Say we have 3 red hearts to start. You're not getting any spirit hearts. Say we have 1 red heart. There's a chance of getting 2, 1, or 0 spirit hearts, but not 3. But Tyler, you just said they can pick between 0 and 3 red hearts, and 0 and 3 spirit hearts. What happens when the game picks 0 red hearts and 0 spirit hearts? Luckily, the game is going to guarantee you at least 2 spirit hearts if no red hearts were given. Ha, you thought that was going to be a lot more complicated. For those that want to see some pseudocode for how this works, we're assuming that our random integer function randint is boundary inclusive, meaning that 0 and 3 are both options. Also, I understand this is not usually how boundaries work in code, I'm just doing it as an example here. It's going to pick a random number between 0 and 3 for red hearts, then if X was not 0, it will give spirit hearts based off of that X. Otherwise, give between 2 and 3. Pretty straightforward for those that code. Consumables. The next generation for Eden is any consumables he has. We're talking keys, bombs, and coins. Surprisingly, you can only start with 1 consumable, meaning you can't start a run with a bomb and a key, or a bomb and a coin, or a coin and a key. There's actually only 3 scenarios that can occur, and there's a 1/3 chance of one of those 3 occurring. I know math is hard, but stick with me. 1, Eden starts with 1 key. 2, Eden starts with 1 or 2 bombs. And 3, Eden starts with 1 to 5 coins. This means that the game will initially check and see if you're lucky and succeeded in that 1/3 or 33% chance of getting a pickup, then it's going to do one of those 3 things. This is honestly one that is much more easily understood using some pseudocode. So first, pick a random integer between 0 and 2. If that integer is 0, then you're getting a consumable. This is due to the fact that pulling a 0 out of 3 numbers is a 1 out of 3 chance. Then it's straightforward from there. Take another random integer, and depending on what that integer is, give the corresponding consumables. Y is equal to 0, give 1 key. Y is equal to 1, give 1 or 2 bombs. Y is equal to 2, give 1 to 5 coins. Attributes. The final part of phase 1 is giving Eden attributes. This is the meat and potatoes of this video. I'm going to throw up a little graphic here showing the range of modifiers here to Eden's stats. Eden's stats are all initially based off of Isaac's base stats, but then changed using these modifiers. It'll give -1 to +1 damage to the base damage 3.5, -0.15 to +0.15 speed to the base speed 1.0, -0.75 to +0.75 tears to the base tiers 1.0, negative 5 to 5 range to the base range 23.75, negative 0.25 to positive 0.25 shot speed to the base shot speed 1.0, and negative 1 to 1 luck to the base luck of 0. There are some pretty cool things hidden here, so let's talk about them. Eden is actually the only character that will ever have a decimal luck stat. All other characters start at a flat integer luck stat, while Eden's luck stat is a float, meaning it has a decimal. Eden could start with negative 0.28 luck, while no other character could ever start with that. The other really interesting thing is that it is technically possible for Eden to start with the exact same stats as Isaac. How would this occur? It means the random generator for attributes would have to get a 0 for each stat. If I do the probability correctly here, this means the probability of this happening is 1 out of 200 times 1 out of 30 times 1 out of 150 times 1 out of 1000 times 1 out of 50 times 1 out of 200, which is a 0.00000000001% chance of this occurring, meaning it's never going to happen, but it could. The pseudocode for calculating Eden's attributes is pretty straightforward as well. I'm not really going to explain it as it's similar to what we've seen in the past two. It does assume that your random function will return a float value, meaning once again it has a decimal, and it also assumes that the decimal will only have 2 slots to the right of the decimal point. I'm not writing hardcore code for an Isaac video. Phase 2. We've made it out of Phase 1 alive. Literally, we have enough HP to survive. Now it's time to see if the game will give us the items we need to survive the run. Pocket items. Pocket items are what we call anything that Isaac carries on him, such as trinkets, pills, or cards. Similar to the consumables, there's different scenarios that can occur based on certain probabilities. A 1/3 chance to get a trinket, a 1/6 chance to get a pill, a 1/6 chance to get a card, or a 1/3 chance to get jack squat nothing. Similar to the consumables, only one of these can happen. You can't get a pill and a trinket. I know, you're sad. Now I'm not going to show you any pseudocode for this because it is strikingly similar to how the consumables are done, but if you'd like me to explain it more in detail, leave a comment, I'll explain it to you there. There are some technicalities involved in these 3 things though, and we need to look at those a bit more in depth. Pills. As many of you know, pill generation in Isaac works a little wonky. There are 47 types of pills in the game once you've unlocked all of them, and on a given run, you can only see 13 different types of pills. What does this mean for Eden? You would have the chance to get one of those 13 pills. Since this occurs after level generation, the pills for the run are already determined. Cards. Similar to pills, there are some distinct differences with cards to go through as well. As many people know, in the game runes are actually characterized as cards. This essentially doesn't matter though, because Eden cannot start with runes. He also can't start with 2 of clubs, 2 of diamonds, 2 of spades, 2 of hearts, or Joker. What happens when a card is picked for Eden is there's actually 2 sets, or decks if you want to be cardsy, that are created. One special deck and then one global deck. The global deck includes all of your normal tarot cards like the Empress or the Moon. The special card deck contains the other special cards in the game like Chaos card, Credit card, etc. The selection of the card is then weighted by having a 1 out of 25 chance or 4% chance of getting a special card, or a 24 out of 25 or 96% chance of getting a normal tarot card. I would show you the code for this, but frankly I really doubt you care, and if you really want me to explain it, leave a comment again, I'll do my best. Trinkets. The final pocket item that is generated is a trinket. There are 122 trinkets in the game, some of which are not necessarily unlocked from the beginning. If you have all of the trinkets unlocked, then the game will pick one of the 122 at random and give it to you. If you do not have all the trinkets unlocked, it will pick a random one, and if it is not unlocked, it will loop again and look for another one. It will then try this again up to 32 times. If it does not find a trinket by the 30-second repick, the game's just gonna say screw you and you won't get a trinket even though you were due one. Technically, it's impossible to tell if this would happen, and realistically, this is a pretty low percentage chance to begin with. The pseudocode for this is a bit different from the other ones in this video, so I'll show it here. Essentially, you have a variable tracking how many times you loop through the trinket selection process, and then upon entering that while loop, you have a condition that states whether you have the trinket unlocked or not. If the trinket is unlocked, break the loop. If it isn't, loop again. Collectibles. Finally, the last part of Eden we have are the items that he starts with. Surprisingly, this is probably the simplest out of all of the other parts of Eden. The game's going to try 101 times to give you an unlocked passive item and active item. Always 101 times. Why? Because why not, I guess. It's going to randomly pick between a number between 1 and 529, which is currently the max number of items in the game. Obviously, this number is going to change with booster packs and mods, but just stick with me. It's then going to loop 101 times, picking a random number and attempting to fill both the active and passive item slot for Eden. If the item's not unlocked with the random number ID chosen, then it's going to skip it and move to the next one, but once it finds an item, it will lock it in and not change it. It should also be noted that there are several IDs in those 529 that actually do not contain an item or contain an item that Eden cannot start with. Number 43, pills here. This is an active item that does nothing but looks like a pill. Number 59, tarot card, a passive item that looks like a card and does nothing. Number 61, okay, this one literally is just nothing. Number 235, it's the exact same, just nothing. And number 263, also nothing. Eden also simply cannot start with key piece number 1 or key piece number 2, which are item ID number 238 and 239 respectively. If any of these IDs are randomly picked, they will be skipped over. So in case you were wondering, yes, if your RNG and luck is that bad, you could technically end up without an active or passive item if it somehow picked items you haven't unlocked or those values listed before 101 times. It's just super duper unlikely. Or with everything unlocked, 7 out of 529 raised to the 101, which is 1.93 times 10 to the negative 188%, which is literally near impossible. Buy a lottery ticket if that happens. Now that we know everything that's going on with Eden Generation, let's hop into an Eden run and apply our knowledge to figure out exactly what happened on the run. Alright, so we'll start with phase 1 here. Health, it looks like we hit the mother load. 3 red hearts means we're not getting any spirit hearts, which we didn't. Looking like we struck out and got that 66.66% chance of not getting a consumable. In terms of our attributes, we got a plus 0.02 speed upgrade from the base 1.0, a range downgrade of 0.86, not too bad though. In terms of tiers, we definitely got an upgrade. I'm not going to calculate it, but if you wanted to, I'm sure you could figure it out using the in-depth tiers video. Damage, we got a slight downgrade at 0.21. We got a 0.13 shot speed downgrade, and we got a negative 0.02 luck as well. Mostly negative stats, but overall not too bad. We did successfully get a trinket, 1/3 chance of that, and we got our 2 items as normally planned. We're ready to win a run. While it may not be really all that important to know how Eden works since you really have no control over the generation, it is still an interesting thing to know. Hopefully you learned a little bit about the game. If you enjoyed this Binding of Isaac in-depth video, leave a like so I know you like them and I'll continue to make more. Let me know some more ideas for in-depth videos in the comments down below. Yes, I know you all want damage. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!